Ladies and gentlemen, lovers and haters, friends and foes. This is Moritz from Wolkify.com, and today I want to share a topic with you that I just recently got into. The topic I want to share with you is deep thinking. Now, as I said, I just started with that myself. I try to make it a habit. I try to incorporate it into my daily routine. So it's not like I'm an expert on that or anything, but I feel like it really helps me in a lot of other different areas of my life as well. So what do I mean with deep thinking? Well, if you think about your day-to-day life, if you think about your daily routines, there's really not a lot of room that you can take for you to really resonate on something, really reflect on your daily routines. There's really not a lot of time to do that because we're being bombarded by just so much stimulation all the time. There's always something on our minds. Our mind is always racing because there's just so much going on in our modern world. I mean, we have work that we have to deal with, then we're dealing with family and friends. We have the media who's constantly giving us input. So there's so much stimulation that we have to digest. And from my experience, it's really not like we take a lot of time for that digestion. We consume and consume and consume, but there's really not a lot of time that we take to let it sink in so we can sort out what works for us, what information is important and relevant to our lives, and what we can just disregard. And this really leads to sort of clogging your mind in a way, because you're taking all this information in, but you're really not taking the time to sort out the really valuable information from the not so valuable information, from the really relevant stuff to the not so relevant stuff. And if you're not doing that, you're just taking it all in, not prioritizing the information, and this leads to you being kind of confused, not knowing what is relevant to you, not knowing what to really make out of your surroundings, and really having no real direction and no real purpose in your life. So if you look at a daily routine, for me at least it was like that. I would wake up, I would listen to some music while getting ready, getting dressed, getting showered, brushing my teeth. Then I would go on the subway to go to work. I would read during the subway ride. Then I would work for 8 or 9 hours, communicate with colleagues, communicate with friends there, do my work obviously, so I'm focused on that. Then I would go home, maybe go to the gym. So I would like listen to a podcast while I'm training. Then I would meet some friends, make some dinner, and eventually go to bed, maybe surf a little bit on Facebook and YouTube right before I go to sleep, and that's it. So I take all this information, all this input in during the day, but where is room to really reflect on it? Where do I take the time to just take a deep breath and really look at all the information, all the different pieces of the puzzle, Jesus, I can't even say it. All the different pieces of the puzzle that is my life. Where do I take the time to really put them together in a way that works for me and in a way that guides me into the right direction? Where do I take the time to reflect on what I do on a day-to-day basis and whether or not this is still aligned with the values and the purpose that I have in life? I figured out that there really was no such room for me, and that's why I made the room. I decided to go on a walk for 30 minutes every day and just reflect. Just reflect on what I'm doing, think about what is bothering me, what I'm passionate about right now, what I really want to accomplish in the next couple of days and weeks and months. So really take the time to realign yourself with what you're passionate about and what your focus is right now in your life. Now, this sounds a little bit like taking the time to meditate, and in a way it is, but when you're meditating, for example, you're not supposed to think about anything at all. You're basically giving your mind, your brain, some well-deserved time for resting. And this is cool too, but it doesn't really give you the time to think about something, or at least you're not supposed to think deeply during that time of meditation. So what I'm suggesting is that you're really trying to make time to do something, really anything, any kind of activity that doesn't need a lot of conscious thinking, a lot of you paying attention to the thing you're doing, but just gives you time to think and just follow the threads of thoughts that you have in your mind and see where it takes you. So for me that is going on a walk, but for you it might be driving around in your car. I actually saw a video of Tai Lopez where he does that, and he talks about like deep thinking. So kind of where I got the inspiration from too. Sorry Tai for stealing it. And it doesn't have to be driving either. I mean, it can also be working out. It can be going for a run, but without the music, obviously, or without the acquaintances running with you. Really try to find any kind of habit where you can do something, you know, keeping you busy, running, walking, cooking, driving, whatever, but at the same time be in your own head and think about what you're doing day to day. Think about where you're going with your life. Think about where you want to improve. Think about how you can accomplish that. Think about what your next steps are in life, and think about how you can execute them. Because if you're not taking the time, if you're not making room for that habit to develop, you're not gonna have that time. You're always gonna engage in something that is, in the end, just noise, just distraction, just something that will block the deep thinking that is necessary to really make progress in anything. So, for example, for me, if I'm shooting these videos, usually I get the ideas from that kind of deep thinking. When I really take the time to think about something, I actually find out that I have a lot of thoughts and ideas and things that I want to share with the world. So that's why I'm shooting these videos. And I don't get these ideas, these topics, if I don't take the time to actually develop on these ideas and topics. So it's not like they're coming to me while I'm watching a YouTube video, or while I'm being on Facebook, or like while I'm talking to my coworkers. I actually have to take the time to make room for these thoughts to develop. And that's what I want you to invite to try too. Just try it for yourself. If it works, then keep at it. Try to develop on that habit. Try to make progress in it. Try to take it further. And if it's not for you, well, disregard it. What have you lost, right? So keep that in mind. I hope it helps you. I hope it helps you to gain some really insights on your life and gain some perspective. And if it does, keep at it. This is Moritz from Wolkify.com. Talk to you next time.